Hey everybody, it's Mike from The Mike Wagner Show. If you like The Mike Wagner Show and you want to make your own podcast, well, let me tell you about Anchor. First of all, it's free. Secondly, there's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. You can also add any song from Spotify directly to your episodes. The possibilities are endless. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you. You can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, many more. You can also make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So download the free Anchor app or go to Anchor FM to get started.
The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios.
Hi, this is Mia Mosensia, also known as Mia No Time for Love. Check out my latest book, Missing, available in print and ebook formats on Amazon.
It's now time for the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube, iTunes, Anchor FM, Radio Public, and the MikeWagnerShow.com. Mike brings you great guests and interesting people from all across the globe. So sit back, relax, and enjoy another great episode of the Mike Wagner Show.
Hey everybody, it's Mike from The Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Look at a professional website without breaking your budget. Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs at below the competition rate. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show, get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios, take your image to the next level. Also, time to give official shout out to our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Mosensia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, you'll love Missing by Mia Mosensia, available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. Takes place in 4 countries, 2 strangers, 1 target, where truth is illusion and those you love will be the first to go missing. It's available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing by Mia Mosensia has garnered great reviews and even loved and endorsed by Howard celebrities, including Joanna Cassie, Forrest Riley, and many others. So grab your copy today for it goes Missing by Mia Mosensia, available on Amazon. Also, check out the Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com on over 30 podcast platforms, including Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also, Anchor FM, iTunes, Google Play, Amazon, Audible, Apple Music, coming soon to Hamilton Radio, and also other networks as well. Take the Mike Wagner Show on any mobile device. Subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel. Follow the Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today. And for great gift ideas, go to Amazon.com and check out the Mike Wagner Show podcast. T-shirts, pop sockets, throw pillows, tote bags, and hoodies. Makes great gifts 24/7. Go to Amazon.com and check out the Mike Wagner Show podcast. And for more great gift ideas, go to Amazon.com/Mia Mosensia for great books like Missing, Once, and Wrinkles. Also T-shirts, pop sockets, throw pillows, phone cases, and more. Amazon.com/Mia Mosensia. Check it out today. I'll support the Mike Wagner Show on Anchor FM, PayPal, themikewagnershow.com. You can also buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com with the Mike Wagner Show. Make sure you do so today. We're here with a terrific lady who's backed by popular demand. We talked about the book, John and Mary Margaret. She was born and raised in Mississippi, moved to Memphis, Tennessee back in 88. She was a co-director of 2010 and the 13 Oxford, Mississippi Creative Nonfiction Conferences. Also director of in 2011 as a Memphis Creative Nonfiction workshops and also panelists on many fests as well, too. And her writings infused with elements of her own life. And her new book is a collection of personal essays and sat on the island of Patmos, Greece during a pilgrimage with her husband, Father Basil Cushman, and as an Orthodox priest. And it's got 35 essays, 3 poems, and 5 excerpts and more. And no partridge in a pear tree, by the way. Live, ladies and gentlemen, for the Plus Studios in her beautiful home, the multi-talented author of the new book, Pilgrim Interrupted, and backed by popular demand, Susan Cushman. Susan, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for joining us once again.
Thanks, Mike. Great to be back.
Well, it's great to have you on board as well, too. You're really excited about the book, Pilgrim Interrupted, 35 essays, 3 poems, and 5 excerpts from your books. You also had A Second Blooming, Cherry Bomb, Friends of the Library, and Tangles and Plagues. Also, the Pulpwood Queen, Southern Writers on Writing. And we last talked about your book, John and Mary Margaret, which is really fascinating. And before we get into all that, once again, very quickly, tell us how you got started.
How I got started writing?
Yeah, just simply quickly tell us about all about how you got started. Very quickly.
Well, very quickly, high school. on the high school newspaper, thought I'd be a journalist. Married young, raising kids, soccer mom, I'm being ... I'm giving you bullets. And then
a true writer indeed, yeah.
And then in 2001, when my youngest left for college, I decided to seriously pursue writing. And I started with essays that were published in various anthologies, journals, and magazines. And then my first book was published in 2017, Tangles and Plaques, A Mother and Daughter Face Alzheimer's. Had three books in 2017. I was 65, 66 years old. My 8th book is coming out in June, and I'm 71, and I'm having a great late life career.
Mm-hmm. And you certainly did, too. You also were on a pilgrimage in Greece with your husband, Father Basil, Cushman as well, too, an Orthodox priest. And, I love to hear about your ventures in Greece as well. It's like, how'd you go on this pilgrimage and what inspired you to go? And, what was it like being on a pilgrimage, especially in Greece?
Yeah, well, I've been on a lot of pilgrimages, some even without leaving the U.S. to various, there are a lot of Orthodox monasteries in this country. And then, of course, there are personal spiritual pilgrimages that you don't have to leave town for. But in 2007, my husband and I went to Greece. I've been there 2 or 3 times, but that particular pilgrimage, we ended up in the cave of the Apocalypse, where St. John was inspired to write the book of Revelations. And so the essay I wrote about that, Pilgrim Interrupted, became the title essay of my collection, Pilgrim Interrupted, because the way it was interrupted was we were inside a very holy spiritual place having liturgy, and then suddenly this woman comes in with a clipboard, and following her are dozens of people who have gotten off of a cruise boat.
Oh my gosh.
Mountain. And they come in their khaki shorts and white kids and fanny packs and cameras, even though the sign says no photographs. And for about 30 minutes during the Divine Liturgy, which is like the Mass for Catholics, which is the highest worship in the Orthodox Church, these pilgrims come in. So here we are watching. Here's the priest and the altar. They walk in. They walk past for like 30 minutes, taking pictures, even though the sign says not to.
Oh my gosh.
Touching the places where St. John, put his hand when he was hearing from God and writing the book of Revelations. So that went on for like 30 minutes. So I wrote an essay called Pilgrim Interrupted, which was about that. And then that inspired the whole volume, 10 years later. And yet, what was important about that experience was that I let it interrupt me pretty much out of pride. It's like, we're doing something spiritual here. What are you people doing in your kids and fanny packs? And yet, once it was over, the priest who was serving the liturgy said, well, thank God they're here. They're getting to see something beautiful. Why does that bother you? And I had to search my heart for why that interrupted me. And that inspired the whole book about how my whole spiritual pilgrimage has been interrupted by various things in life.
Really? What are some of the other various elements that were interrupting the pilgrimage as well, too? It's just like, besides tourists walking in and, in front of the Mass. And luckily, they didn't swipe the wine and the bread from like a snack or something.
Right, exactly. Well, in Orthodox spirituality, there's a lot taught about being quiet and going inside and the universe inside of us and all of that. And yet, to experience that, unless you are a monk or a nun who has the opportunity to live somewhere where quiet is the norm, for a mother of 3 children, a busy people in the world, it's really hard to pursue that. So things, quote, interrupt that. But it's sort of a metaphor because they interrupt and yet they don't. They're the most beautiful things in your life. Your children, your grandchildren, your secular careers. Then the, quote, bad things that happen. I had cancer. I was in a life-threatening car wreck. All of these things can interrupt your pilgrimage. And yet in the long run, they add to it, and they inspire it, and they inform it, and that's what I learned from it, and that's why I write the book.
Mm-hmm. You also have 35 essays as well, too, 3 poems, and 5 excerpts from your books, and maybe just give us a few of your essays, and maybe just a few notables from your books as well.
Yeah, because the thing that's different about this book, this is my 8th book, is that it's mixed genre, meaning it has essays, which are nonfiction, poetry, and excerpts from books, previous books. So a lot of it is previously published material, not new material. And yet, all put together, it reads like a memoir. So I divided all of that up into like 6 different sections of my life, which include, the first section is icons and orthodoxy and spirituality, because I'm a convert to the Eastern Orthodox faith from the Presbyterian faith of my childhood. And then the second section is writing, editing, and publishing. And that's about my journey as a writer. The third section is about Alzheimer's, caregiving, death, and dying. As you know from my previous books, I wrote a lot about that because of my mother's journey with Alzheimer's and I thought the blessing of being with 5 family members and close friends as they were dying. And I wrote a lot about that. The fourth section is on family and adoption. My 3 kids, who are now 44, 40, and 39, are all adopted, and I have 4 grandchildren. And then the 5th section is on place, because as a Southern writer, place is a really important thing. Mm-hmm. Whether the place is the setting for your novel, whether the place has to do with where you started from on your pilgrimage, whether or not it's a spiritual pilgrimage. And then the 6th section is on mental health, addiction, and sexual abuse, which I write about out of my own experience. So it's a mixed genre memoir collection.
Mm-hmm. And also, too, we also talked last about John and Mary Margaret. And that was a great book as well, too, and a really good insight to it. So it's like maybe you can remind everybody what that book is about, maybe a few excerpts about including your latest book. I mean, that was a great story, too, John and Mary Margaret.
Thank you. I was very much inspired to write that in the summer of 2020 when a lot of the racial protests were going on all over the world, not just in Memphis, but even in Memphis. And because it's about a Black boy from Memphis and a white girl from Jackson, Mississippi, who fall in love on the Ole Miss campus in the 60s. And the book covers 50 years of civil rights history. So it was timely to write that during that time when I wanted to have a voice. I have a Korean daughter whose husband is Black, and I have mixed race granddaughters. And so these issues are really important and special to me. So I don't feel like I've left that. In fact, I have excerpts from that book in Pilgrim Interrupted.
That's really interesting as well, too. And I also still think about John and Mary Margaret. We talked about last a while back. Do you think still much has changed? Do you think you're seeing some improvement, or do you still think it still needs some work?
It needs a lot of work, Mike. It's like a little bit of improvement. I mean, a lot if you compare it with 100 years ago, but it still needs a lot of improvement. I can't fix it. I don't know what it's going to take. It may take generations, to fix and change the racial disparity in our country and elsewhere.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it certainly does. And of course, maybe some of the other things about, Pilgrim Interrupted as well, too. And what are some of the other things you would like to highlight about the book?
What I would like to highlight, what?
About the book, yes.
Well, primarily that I'm 71 years old, and this is my 8th book. So it's a bit of a collection of things throughout my life, because sometimes when we're younger, we think, I'm going to write a memoir. And I did, and I wrote one 20 or 30 years ago. But it was too young to write it because the story was still too young. I mean, it's still young. It's 71. It's not over, and yet this is a compilation of a lot of different parts of my life. I have a blog, Pen and Palette, on my website, www.susancushman.com. And I started it in 2006 or 7. And so, and in fact, my first book, Tangles and Plaques, A Mother and Daughter Face Alzheimer's, is a compilation of 60 of those blog posts. So I think it's important, especially for anyone who wants to write, to keep a journal, to keep a blog, to keep a record of these things in your life, because you never know at what point you might want to pull some of those into a larger narrative arc, into a novel, into a memoir. I pulled it into my novel, Cherry Bomb. Now I pulled it into my novel, Pilgrim Interrupted.
Mm-hmm. And of course, what do you want the readers to especially get from the book?
A lot of different things. I was just on an interview with a woman who does a podcast for writers over 50, which I kind of laughed at 71 because 50 sounds kind of young, but she wanted my advice for writers over 50. And one of the things I said was, I have no regrets. I'm not a bit sorry that I waited till I was in my 60s to write my first book, because I admire younger authors who can do that. But I think a lot of us need several decades of life to acquire the wisdom and the experience to write significant things that are going to matter to people, whether they're on a spiritual pilgrimage, whether they are considering their thoughts on civil rights and racial issues, whether they are struggling with healing from sexual abuse and struggling with addictions, eating disorders. No matter where they are in their life, I feel like senior voices are important.
Mm-hmm. And something to learn as well, too. And also, where can we get the book Pilgrim Interrupted?
Well, it's up for pre-sale right now on Amazon. It launches June the 7th, and it'll be available at bookstores everywhere.
Okay, we will certainly check that out. And what's coming up for Susan Cushman, we'll find out just 1 minute. First off, you listen to The Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Looking at a professional website without breaking your budget, Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs at below the competition rate. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show, get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios, take your image to the next level. Also, time to give an official shout out to our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Mosensia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, you'll love Missing by Mia Mosensia, available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. Takes place in 4 countries, 2 strangers, 1 target, where truth is an illusion and those you love will be the first to go missing. It's available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing by Mia Mosensia has garnered great reviews and even loved and endorsed by Howard celebrities, including your copy today for Goes Missing by Mia Mosensia, available on Amazon. Also, check out The Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com, over 30 podcast platforms. Take us with you on any mobile device. Subscribe to The Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel. Follow The Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today, and coming to Hamilton Radio as well. Also, don't forget to check out The Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com and check out the merchandise. Also, for more great gift ideas, go to amazon.com/Mia Mosensia for great books, merchandise, and more. Amazon.com/Mia Mosensia. Also support The Mike Wagner Show on Anchor FM, PayPal, themikewagnershow.com. You can buy me a coffee at themikewagnershow.com, and just make sure you do so today. We're here with author Susan Cushman, back on The Mike Wagner Show. Give us an update on Pilgrim Interrupted, and what can we expect from you in 2022 and beyond, Susan?
Well, 2022 is when Pilgrim Interrupted releases in June. That will be my 8th book. And I just signed a contract for my 9th book, which will be another anthology. So I have 5 books I've written, which are novels, short story collections, and memoirs. And I have 3 anthologies I've edited. So this will be my 4th anthology. And the title is All Night, All Day, Life, Death, and Angels.
Oh, my gosh.
It's like the African spiritual, all night, all day, angels watching over me, my Lord. This will have essays, short stories, and poetry by 25 authors and I'm the editor. And that will come out in June of 2023. So that'll be my 9th book. So, in the 7th decade of my life, I'm really having the best time. I don't know what it'll be after that. Maybe I'll write another novel or a short story collection, but I'm going to keep going as long as I can because I am having the time of my life.
And certainly does as well, too. And just another thing, what inspired you to write an upcoming anthology, especially in 4 parts? It's like, wow, that's a project and a half.
Well, I think that organizing and editing anthologies is actually easier than writing a book.
Really? How so?
Well, it just depends on your gifts. To write a book takes not only a lot of creative effort, organizational ability, longevity, but to do an anthology takes knowing people, yes, because I don't send out a call for submissions, say, who wants to write a book about this? Who wants to submit an essay about this? Instead, I specifically invite authors who I think have something to say about the topic. And I feel like that's my gift, is knowing the people who are good at certain things, pulling them together, putting together the anthologies, editing them. So this will be my 4th anthology that I've done like that. Maybe I'll do another one. And they're just a lot of fun, and hopefully people will really enjoy them. And then they get to know a little bit about each of those authors. And then they can go, oh, I liked this one. And they can go and find that author's books and read them. Because it's all about promoting story.
Oh, wow. That is a really nice concept. I thought anthologies came from short stories and from an author and all that. But all this coming from other authors, that is so amazing. And were these all authors that you knew, from the time you were writing, and this happened over time or anything like that? So it's like, I'm getting some great ideas. I think I'll start an anthology myself. I like to bring some writers in.
Yes, actually, Mike, there are 2 kinds of anthologies. There is an anthology that's all one author's collections. And Pilgrim Interrupted is pretty much like that. It is kind of, it says at the bottom, a collection. Mm-hmm. Because it is a collection of only my work. But my anthologies that I've edited are collections of other authors' work. And so, yes, I have known personally almost all of these authors, or else I'm very familiar with their work. So when I put together an anthology on Southern writers, I know to go to Southern writers. If it's on angels and spiritual journeys, I know to go to people that I have read who have that specific thing, like Sophie Burnham, who's writing the forum for that collection, has a fabulous New York Times bestselling book on angels.
Wow.
So I went to her, even though I didn't know her personally, and I said, would you write a foreword for this book? She said, send me the essay collection. I sent it to her. She loved it, and she wrote a foreword. So that's kind of how that project works. I just think that's more fun, even than writing.
That's interesting. You mentioned about angels and spirits in your anthology. What inspired you to, start up Angels and Spirits as an anthology? What was that first moment that somebody said, I'm going to start an anthology on angels and spirits? This is interesting.
It was a great moment. So Cassandra King, husband of the late Pat Conroy, and I are good friends. And I was at her home in Beaufort, South Carolina, a couple of years ago. And I had read her story about Pat, her husband, and especially about the end of his life. And there was an experience at which an angel appeared in their home. And it was fascinating. And she wrote about it in her book. And I said, Cassandra, I just love this. What do you think? What if I did an anthology about people who have had end-of-life experiences or near-death experiences or experiences with angels? What do you think about that? She said, oh, definitely do it. And I would definitely contribute an essay. So that happened in the summer of 2021. And that was my inspiration.
That's really interesting. I'd love to talk more about that when you put out the Angels anthology as well, too, on the Mike Wagner Show. This sounds great. So this is going to be like a cliffhanger on this one. So just stay tuned. We're here with Susan Cushman of the Cushman here on the Mike Wagner Show. Susan, a very big thank you for your time and thanks for updating us. We love to have you back. And once again, tell us about where can we find your book, Pilgrim Interrupted, your other books, and how do people contact you?
Well, you can find me easily at www.susancushman.com. All my books are available on Amazon and anywhere books are sold.
That's certainly amazing. We'll check it out. Once again, Susan, thanks for keeping us up to date. Keep in touch. We'd love to have you back and definitely wish you all the best and looking forward to having you again soon.
Thanks, Mike.
The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios. If you're looking to start or upgrade your online presence, visit www.sonicwebstudios.com for all of your online needs. Call 1-800-303-3960 or visit us online at www.sonicwebstudios.com to get started today. Mention the Mike Wagner Show and get 20% off your project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level.
Hey everybody, my name is Forbes Riley and I'm an American actress and a TV host. And I was delighted when I got my copy of Missing, which is Extraordinary Relation of Ordinary People based on a real life relationship. It's well written. It's amazing. You know, it talks about a man who has lost his wife and his daughter, and it's very well done. I'm going to highly recommend that you go get your copy of Missing. It is a powerful, exciting read. Mr. Mian Moshe Zia. He is the author of Missing. And I want to give a big shout out and a kiss all the way halfway around the world to my dear friend. Check him out at Mia's website. It's called www.miamoshenzea.com. Missing, available on Amazon. Again, I'm Forbes Riley, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, YouTube, Anchor FM, Radio Public, and themikewagnershow.com. Please support our program with your donations at themikewagnershow.com. Join us again next time for another great episode of The Mike Wagner Show.